Let's have a good race. anthem, the Star Spangled Banner.
Thank you there, Noma. I apparently ended up muted once again. Boy. Good thing I'm able to keep track of my stuff a little bit quicker. I noticed the red lights over there, so sorry about that. But we are qualifying here with about 2 minutes left to go, and we still got Buchanan, Fulton, Gall, Melton, Hurst, and Watchorn. Waiting to see if they take the grid here. Watchorn may be sitting here on pit road. Waiting to see about Fulton, Buchanan. Jacob Elkin still out front in the lead with a 14.514. Scott Healy with a 14.543. John Daniels with a 14.560. As we're getting set and ready to rock and roll with Cannonball after a little bit of summer break here tonight. We're back, bringing it back here as we're at Bristol. As looks like Watchorn did come out on track. Merrick Watchorn there in the number 91, making his laps around in that Twiggy machine. As he heads down here in the corner, number 3 and 4, up against that outside wall, ends up coming down, and we'll see if he gets a time. It may be in no time since he tapped that outside wall. And Watchorn sitting with a 14.620 for his qualifying time so far tonight. Seeing who else may come out on track here. Still looking for Buchanan, Hurst, Gall, Melton, and Fulton. Now we got 10 seconds left. The qualifying left to go. So those drivers there at the back are going to most likely stay at the back here to start this one here tonight at Bristol Motor Speedway. And here we go. Grid is up, and we're looking at Jacob Elkins as your pole sitter there in row one. Scott Healy on the outside of row number one. John Daniels starting third in row number two. On his outside is Maurice Gamillion there in fourth. Merrick Watchorn starts fifth tonight there inside row number three. Outside row number three is Aaron Raymond in the number 29. John Anthony sitting there in seventh position inside row four. Outside goes to Jeff Scott in the eighth position in at number 38. Machine here tonight. James Wagner sitting in ninth position inside row number 5 with Wesley Lynch to his outside starting in 10th. James Wurtzmeyer starting in 11th here tonight with Jack Stanley on his outside there in row number 6. Row number 7 is Chris Melton starting on the inside in 13th. Matthew Gall on his outside in 14th. R.J. Buchanan in 15th in the number 19 and starting in 16th. Outside row number 8 is Derek Fulton. And rounding out your field here tonight in the 17th place, back here in row number 9 is Johnny Hurst. Take a quick look at our race details here tonight. And that is the wrong logo there. Forgive me for one quick second here. I always forget about that logo. I get everything else situated and I forget about that stupid logo. There we go. Much better. Alrighty. So we got 74 degrees for a track temp, 72 degrees for our ambient temperature, 56% humidity, cloudy with 6-mile-an-hour winds. And we're getting trackside as looks like the driver gets stacked up and ready to take on the green flag here. And I'm not sure I have the right cameras here tonight. One quick moment here. This should have been fixed already, but unfortunately it somehow switched my cameras on me. Alrighty, so that's what we got for cameras. We'll make it work.
Ready, green, green, green.
As we're green flag racing down here in the front stretch. And almost 3 wide off the start, but no, they keep it 2 wide. Has the 24 of Jacob Elkins down and away. Out front there with the 02 of John Daniels quickly there in second. Scott Healy in third. Battling there alongside is the 29 of Aaron Raymond. It's Scott Healy back here in fourth. Maurice Gamillion in fifth right now. As everybody single file out right now as they come through turn number 1. To complete lap number 2. Now we're on lap number 3 here tonight at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Up there on the high side, that's the 44 of Maurice Gamillion side by side, and we got the 38 of Jeff Scott going around.
How's my radio been today? Could you hear me fine?
Noma, do I have everything looking good so far? I know you said change your logo, and I definitely did that as quickly as I could. So we'll take a look at this. Jeff Scott going around here. Now we come down here in the corner, number 1. Goes underneath the 44. As they come off, it comes up, clips the back corner, and just sends them around down there into that inside wall. And that number 38 machine goes around. Don't look like it's too terrible on the damage end, but there is definitely damage there to the front end of that 38 machine here tonight. Some of these drivers here beforehand, they were kind of wondering if this was going to be I-pacing or I-racing here tonight, as Bristol sometimes can go on be just on the little bit of a loose side here for these drivers. Lined up with the pace truck out front. Jeff Scott in the pits, trying to get a little bit of work done, trying to beat the pace truck out. So we can kind of hopefully stay on the lead lap. Lights are out on the pace truck. We're going to double them back up here tonight and get ready for another restart. And Jacob Elkins is going to choose the outside lane here. I would come down here in the corner number 3, getting ready for the restart here tonight. First of our cautions was brought out by none other than Jeff Scott here tonight. And we are back underway at O2. Looks like he might have missed a shift or something there on the restart, and that's going to open up the gap there for Jacob Elkins as that bottom lane gets stacked up. Coming through turns number 1, out now through turn number 3 and 4. Aaron Raymond up to 3rd. As Scott Healy has some company there from Johnny Anthony on the outside. Johnny Anthony making that outside pass look easy up there along that outside lane. Now we got back here Scott Healy battling here for 5th with Maurice Gamillion and James Wagner battling it out. And this is for 6th position with that number 30 and the number 44 up there on the high side is Maurice with James Wagner getting by. Now James Wertzma works on the bottom side of Gamillion. And they work through 3 and 4 back here into the front stretch, down across the stripe, down into corner number 1. Still side-by-side racing here for 7th and 8th. Everybody else kind of single-filed out at the moment as we keep an eye on the gap. As the closest gap right now looks to be these 3 drivers as Matthew Gall's getting into the mix in that number 78 machine. Maurice Gamillion in 8th and James Wertzma there in 7th. So Gamillion falling back another spot as Matthew Gall gets around. James Wagner sitting in 6th, trying to chase down to 64 Scott Healy. John Anthony up here in 4th, looking to see if he can make something happen as he gets up here to that 3rd spot. That is currently occupied by the O2 of John Anthony. Down the backstretch, in the corner number 3. It's still Jacob Elkins leading the race here tonight, here at lap number 15, as we start lap number 15 on the board. John Anthony here in 4th in that number 34 machine. A little farther back, it's Wesley Lynch trying to get up there and see if he can get a spot away from Maurice Gamillion, as Maurice Gamillion's kind of going the wrong way here tonight, as they are already down 5 spots and look to be battling here for trying to stay within the top 10 at the moment, as they're Gamillion's currently in 9th spot. There's James Wertzma up here on the outside lane above Matthew Gall. As the 44 Maurice Gamillion's trying to stay in the fight here with these 4 cars And we've got a battle getting on up a little farther as the 34 is under fire by the 64 of Anthony. James Wagner there as well in the number 30 machine as they come through 3 and 4 back around to the start-finish line side by side. Here comes Wagner looking to see if he can get underneath that number 34 machine, but the 64 of Scott Healy is down there on that inside right now trying to make the pass happen. Hasn't made it happen yet. You got it there, Noma. We will definitely make sure we send it to you so we can get that up. Hopefully we can get that situated on my end so that we can go live right to there in the near future. Aaron Raymond up here in second. John Daniels there in third. John Anthony in fourth with James Wagner fifth. Scott Healy sitting there in sixth with Matthew Gall in seventh. And there's a battle going on back here as the hive of cars is getting tight in this second pack back here as Matthew Gall is trying to catch Wesley Lynch as the leader of that second pack. And there you see James Wertzma is trying to work his way up through the pack, but out front in this next pack, Aaron Raymond slowly gaining on Jacob Elkins out front there as John Daniels in the 02 is currently sitting in third with John Anthony under fire still from James Wagner now as Scott Healy has kind of fallen back a little bit. And it gave that spot up and see if Wagner can go and put any pressure on Anthony as now here comes Healy again down there on that bottom side. Looks like Wagner's running the middle to low lane here through the corners. Kind of a cut down lane in a sense there through one. Side by side here with Wagner looking on the low side of the 34 of Anthony. Raymond still sitting in third, has company from the 02 as the 02 of Daniels makes the pass here for second place, but the 29 not far back here as he's going to try to battle it back up there. Wagner currently sitting in sixth. As that seems to be the best battle going on out in the racetrack right at the moment. Now he's trying to get up there to fifth as he's falling back now again, giving way to Scott Healy. Anthony just not wanting to give up too much ground up there on that high side, keeping that momentum going. As you see, now he gets into that outside wall. That may hurt him a little bit coming off of corner number 4 as they come back down here into corner number 1. Short track racing here at Bristol this evening. As the 34 of John Anthony had to give way to the 64 and gets up into that outside wall once again with James Wagner back here in 6th, just waiting for somebody to make a small mistake for him to get back up there. And the 29 of Aaron Raymond falling back a little bit as Scott Healy now gets around him to move up into 3rd. John Daniels, look where he's at. He's catching the tail of Jacob Elkins here at lap 32. As they're battling here through 3 and 4, back around, or I'm sorry, 1 and 2, back down here into 3 and 4. As it looks like we're going to have a new leader as John Daniels gets around Jacob Elkins here. For the first time tonight, we do have a different leader. Scott Healy now working on the bottom side of Elkins. As Elkins now looks like he may be hurting a little bit on tire, being out front all that time. There comes Elkins sitting there in 2nd. Looks like he might get past, though, to move him back here into 3rd. As Scott Healy down there on the bottom in that number 64 is trying to make that pass happen. But Jacob Elkins holding tough out there on the high side. Aaron Raymond back here in 4th with John Anthony here in 5th. James Wagner still sitting 6th. We got some tough competitors here tonight. It's tough to pass here. Scott Healy now up here moving. Looks like he's going to make some moves, and he's going to try to go for the lead now as we're side by side for that lead spot once again with John Daniels in that front spot with Scott Healy working his way back there, and we're seeing here in the comments that Scott Healy from Noma TV, they're saying great tire saving here. As Scott Healy currently sitting there in second. Jacob Elkins in third. Aaron Raymond in fourth. John Anthony here in fifth with James Wagner sixth. Wesley Lynch in seventh. James Wagner now working on Anthony once again as they work through 1 and 2, sorry. And now go back down to backstretch. Here into 3 and 4 now. Johnny Hurst here in 8th with Chris Melton in 9th. Maurice Gamillion there in 10th. Those are your top 10 drivers as it stands right now. John Daniels currently sitting in second now as Scott Healy didn't make the pass. And Jacob Elkins currently sitting in third, kind of all by himself at the moment. And back here a little farther, we do have that battle still going on with Aaron Raymond and, with John Anthony and James Wagner. But Wesley Lynch getting involved now as he's down there on the inside of James Wagner as they work through the corner, and we got him loose, and he's around and back up the racetrack. He's going to go around, and unfortunate there, just nowhere for people to go as Wesley Lynch goes around, coming off of 4 down here in the corner number 1. Trying to get that car towed. That steering is broke on that machine. We'll see if we can get it around, but not looking too likely that he's going to have much steering on that machine, as that right front is definitely broke. Oh, now it's fixed again. iRacing in their infamous fixing of cars. We watched the other night where a front end come off of one of these cars and magically reappeared. So that's one interesting thing with the iRacing platform. So Scott Healy out front here at lap number 43 as everybody makes it to pit road. Coming in here, everybody trying to take tires. And everybody's going to make that slow trip down the backstretch pits and come back around to the front stretch.
Told him like 3.
Good evening there, Jacob. How's it going?
It's going good.
Well, sorry to interrupt you mid-sentence there, but
Yeah, you're good.
I was just up here in the booth. We were wondering how that car's feeling. It looked like you had a great run there during that first stint here before that caution come out, but you kind of fell off a little bit.
I felt good for the first 30 laps. The car was handling absolutely perfect. I wasn't really pushing that much. I was just kind of chilling up at the front, but the tires just fell off of a cliff after like 35 or so, but we'll see what we can do. Normally, I'm not the best for long runs. Normally, the short runs are my thing, so we'll see what happens. There's probably going to be a ton more cautions here, so we'll see what happens.
Alrighty, well, good luck to you, and looks like you had a pretty decent pit stop coming out where you left off, so looks like you're getting lined up to go green, and good luck.
Thank you, appreciate it.
With Jacob Elkins, the driver of that number 24 machine here tonight. Our pole sitter is currently sitting in third. As lights are out, we're going to get short track racing underway once again. And that pace truck pulls off And there you see Barney the flagman has the green flag out. They are going to be down and away once again as they come across the stripe. Who's it going to be coming here into corner number 1? That's going to be Scott Healy leading the way, as it looks like Jacob Elkins falls back here in the 4th, as everybody else fighting hard up here in the front. Now we got the 64 down there on the inside. That's Scott Healy, as John Daniels in the 02 up top, getting pushed along by the number 29 of Aaron Raymond, as Raymond now is battling up there. And here comes Elkins now battling back on that outside lane. And we got one loose. That is, I'm trying to see who's loose back here. That is James Wagner going around and causing a parking lot here in corner number 4, I believe. Or is that corner number 1? That's corner number 1. We're coming off the corner. You'll see the 30 just break loose. He tries to gather it up, ends up tagging that inside wall, and then gets slammed from the back. That was the 35 of Derek Fulton getting into the back of him. Just unfortunate there for Wagner. There was really nothing he could have done to try to... Oh, man, tough break for these drivers down here in corner number 1. As we're under our second caution of the night. Oh, sorry, third caution of the night. Here at lap 50. Watchhorn's marked as out. Buchanan marked as out. Down 36 laps. Gall sitting in pit lane. Lynch sitting there a lap down. Melton sitting a lap down. And Wagner sitting on pit road was sitting on pit road. Looks like he's out and about trying to make his way back around. Drivers doing what they can here, as John Daniels now as your leader in that number 02 machine, followed up by Aaron Raymond. Jacob Elkins there in the 3rd spot. Scott Healy there in 4th. Johnny Anthony in 5th. Maurice Chameleon sitting 6th with Johnny Hurst in 7th. James Wagner, even though he spun and had the parking lot there, he doesn't seem to be too bad off, as he's currently sitting there in the number 8 or 9th position. Derek Fulton there in 10th. Jeff Scott sitting 11th. James Wertzma in 12th. Wesley Lynch in 13th. Chris Melton sitting on pit road in that number 52/49 machine. 35, Derek Fulton in the pit road. Side by side, we're getting ready to line them up once again here. Coming out of 4, they're looking for them lights to go off, and they do. As lights are out, we're going to be going green flag racing once again with John Daniels out there in front. Side by side. John Daniels taking that outside lane, putting Aaron Raymond on the inside. Green flag back in the air here as they come across the stripe, making it lap 55 on the board. And John Daniels getting a great restart, but look out, here comes Aaron Raymond down there on the inside. The 0-2 of John Daniels up there in the outside wall. That's going to open the door up for both Scott Healy and Jacob Elkins. Elkins now to the outside of Healy as they come barreling down here into corner number 1. Up of 2, back out onto the backstretch, and Elkins has got to take over that 3rd spot. Healy sitting there in fourth with Maurice Chameleon now battling on the inside. On the outside. And we got John Anthony loose. Jeff Scott out there on the outside, side by side. Up front, it's still Aaron Raymond out there in the point with John Daniels down there on the inside trying to get underneath as we're on lap 58 now out of 150. Working through turns 1 and 2. Jacob Elkins here in third. Let's see if we can do a little bit of heated up here tonight. Alrighty, out front, it's still Aaron Raymond with John Daniels there in second. Jacob Elkins there in third. They're doing all they can here as we're on board with Jacob Elkins as we're storming down here through 1 and 2. Or I'm sorry, 3 and 4 as we're coming across the stretch back down into corner number 1 and 2. He's right there at the bumper of John Daniels. A little farther back, James Wagner, as he's looking to see if he can find a way around this number 49 machine slash 50. I'm sorry, I think that's Chris Melton. I'm not sure. As a 33 is there as well. That's a 33 of Wesley Lynch. So James Wagner's stuck behind some lap machines at the moment, trying to work his way back up through the field. Up front, Jacob Elkins looking to take over that second spot. And here comes Scott Healy in at 64, looking to get past the 02 of John Daniels. As John Daniels down there on the inside. So now that's going to move Jacob Elkins up to second. But Scott Healy looking to make the pass on the inside now here at lap 70. Lap's ticking away pretty quickly here tonight. Now they're down here on the inside. That's Scott Healy looking underneath Jacob Elkins. John Daniels here in fourth with Maurice Chameleon in fifth. John Anthony in sixth. Jeff Scott in seventh with James Wagner sitting in eighth. Stuck behind some lap traffic. Johnny Hurst looking to see if he can get up here to Wagner before he gets around that lap traffic and make things happen to put him up into the 8th spot. Jack Stanley sitting here in the number 95. Rusty's car. And right behind him is James Wurtzma in that 3. Oh, out front still is Aaron Raymond, Jacob Elkins there in second. And look out, here comes Scott Healy looking to the inside of Elkins once again down here through 1 and 2, out onto the backstretch. Healy still trying to make that bottom side work here as he's now down there once again through 3 and 4. Elkins up there on the high side, Healy on the bottom, down through 1 and 2. Healy trying to get that momentum off that bottom side. Just does not quite have the run yet, but it is picking them off little by little each lap. Elkins, though, still having a little bit quicker lap time up there on that high side by 2 thousandths or 200ths of a second As Healy now dived back down there the inside, trying to get that bottom lane to work for him, but has not been able to do it yet. And this is the battle for second, as John Daniels back here in third. Elkins up there now to that outside wall. Thought maybe he brushed it. Unfortunately, that would have cost him a little bit of time, but it did not. Luckily, as Scott Healy is still sitting there in third. Aaron Raymond out front. Loves to see these two back here battling it out, as it's allowing him to pull away a little bit, as these two keep pulling the air off of one another. And down here into the corner, and here comes Scott Healy to try to make the pass through 3 and 4 back out on the front stretch, and he does clear Elkins coming across the stripe. Now down here in the corner, number 1 and 2 once again. It is Aaron Raymond out there in front with Jacob Elkins there in third. Scott Healy second. John Daniels fourth. Maurice Gamillion in fifth. John Anthony here in sixth with Jeff Scott in seventh. James Wagner still in eighth, trying to get around these two lap cars with lap number 80 on the board right now. As looks like Aaron Raymond starting to work through the back of the pack, as he looks to be putting James Wertzma lap down. Scott Healy getting around him as well here as he comes up on him. Lap number 82 on the board. Jacob Elkins there in third with John Daniels fourth, Maurice Gamillion fifth, John Anthony in sixth. This could get a little bit of short track mix-up here going on as the drivers start to reach nose to tail here. And just to kind of show you what I'm talking about, as we turn on our track map, you'll kind of see that the cars almost are stringing the whole way around Bristol here this evening. Aaron Raymond doing a great job out front right now. Scott Healy sitting in second. Jacob Elkins still in third. I don't know if Elkins is just kind of taking it easy, looking for the right time to strike. But as we heard from him there under that caution, he doesn't quite have the long run figured out as well as the short runs. And right now, we're under a pretty decent long run here, as we're at lap 85 now. We're over halfway done with this race tonight. Aaron Raymond's back up here in first. Scott Healy second with Jacob Elkins here in third. And the 02, John Daniels chasing him down. We've got the 44, Maurice Gamillion chasing them the pack down as well as the 34 of John Anthony. So you've got these cars starting to stack up a little bit as you see Jeff Scott working into the picture. James Wagner is still working to try to get around these lap cars as he's lost. Thought maybe he lost the spot, but he has not. But he's still got the battle going on here, trying to get around these lap cars. Aaron Raymond slowly catching some more cars here as he looks to be catching the 35 of Fulton. And in front of Fulton here is the number 95, and in front of the 95 is Johnny Hurst. And at number 58, the James Wagner, if he wants to stay in the lead lap, he's got to find a way to get around these two lap cars and get working up there to Jeff Scott. It looks like that lap machine, trying to figure out who that is. I think that's Chris Melton down there in the 49. On the scoreboard, he's number 52. And he's really throwing a wrench into some of this plans up here for these leaders. As Wagner's still trying to chase down some of these cars. But he's now got a couple positions here in front of him. That is the 38 of Jeff Scott right there in that shiny machine. As now James Wagner looking to the inside, coming off. He does get the spot almost into that outside wall. There goes the 33, though, looking to the inside of the 34. Even though they're a lap down, they're still putting some laps between them, trying to keep as much on the lead lap as possible. As there you see Scott Healy kind of all by him lonesome. There you see Jacob Elkins getting company from the 02. The 44 and the 34 all coming up here. Oh, I'm sorry, the 34 is not there. Those are lap machines trying to make a way up here towards the front. As the 02 Daniels kind of falls back a little bit from Elkins as the 44 has the 2 lap machines coming up on him. And that is the 52 and the 33. As the 33 is now to the inside of John Daniels down here through the corner and back out onto the front stretch. It's interesting to see how these cars are definitely shaking it up here. As we're side by side, you got a mix of lap cars here. And there's a 4-second gap between first to second, and there's a 4-second gap between second to third. And then the racing picks up from there as the 44 of Maurice Chameleon's looking to the inside of Jacob Elkins. And here comes the lap machine of the 52 of Chris Melton. Like I said, he's 52 on the scoreboard, 49 on track. As Scott Healy brings it on pit road. See if anybody follows his lead. As still up front is Aaron Raymond. Maurice Chameleon here in second. Jacob Elkins third. John Daniels in fourth. James Wagner has moved himself up to fifth now, so he's trying to get himself back into the fight of things. And we got a caution under the way as Jeff Scott and the number 3 of James Wertzma get together. Well, we'll see coming through the corner. Trying to see who gets loose. Looks like, oh boy, maybe a little bit of neck code between the 3 and the 38. As they get together, and then the 3 ends up into the outside wall. The 38 coming back down. Jeff Scott not happy about that as he was on the lead lap. Battling there with the lap machine of James Wertzma. Tough break, things like that do happen though. And you just got to be prepared for it. And now the pack comes into the pits. Here under this caution. That's going to be interesting for the likes of Scott Healy, who is now lapped down. And he's going to decide against coming in. He just came out. Wesley Lynch there in 11th. Chris Melton moving up through, trying to get his lap back. Matthew Gall up here as well. So we got the lap machines at 33. Or I'm sorry, the 3 of James Wertzma. The 33 of Wesley Lynch. Scott Healy. Matthew Gall here in the 13th position. So a few of them coming in. We got Matthew Gall staying out. Scott Healy staying out there in the number 64. Johnny Hurst staying out. James Wertzma came in. Buchanan is out. So we got a few drivers still heading in, like Chris Melton here in the number 52. Not sure how he ended up getting scored out front. That should fix now as Elkins looks to be the one scored out front. As Healy, Gall. Healy had to stop on the racetrack. He must be going to the back. Oh, Jacob Elkins lined up as the leader on the score sheet. Lights are out on the pace truck. We're going green this time as Jacob takes that outside lane. Scott Healy sitting back here toward the back. We'll see how this plays out for him.
Green flag, green
As
flag,
Elkins
green
gets a
flag.
great jump. Here comes Chameleon. Here in second place in that number 44, James Wagner up to third out there on the high side, battling beside Daniels for that third position down here in the corner number 3 and 4. It will be Daniels, though, leading on that bottom side as they come off and they get together, and it looks like the 2 and the 44 are going to go around down there onto the inside.
Right there towards the end of that little
That's
hump we just
John Daniels and Chameleon going around there on the front stretch. So coming off of corner number 4, we have an incident once again. And really, I don't think there was really much hope there for Wagner as this happened right in front of him. And it happened so quick. I think he tried to check up, just unfortunately, he still ended up sending the 2 of them around just because of the angle they were at. So here you see coming off of 4 up here, coming through the restart zone. They get together. They get tagged. They are around. I believe Wagner tries to lift. And there you see them both just go around and kind of simultaneously hit that bottom inside wall kind of at the same time. They lock it down there on the bottom side of the racetrack. See if we can get on board here with James Wagner to see if we can kind of see happen a little bit. As you'll see coming off the corner, there you see the O2 come up. And he was definitely out of it. Just unfortunate there it happened in front of him. I don't think there's going to be too much damage to James Wagner, as now he's up there in the second. As we are that on the pole instant replay here tonight. Jeff Scott sitting in third. Derek Fulton up 12 positions so far, as he's had a little bit of luck on his side here up top. Fourth in that number 35 machine, with Jeff Scott and that number 38 sitting in second. Jack Stanley sitting here in fifth. John Anthony here in sixth. And Raymond back here in seventh. He's had a strong car for a good portion of the night. And Scott Healy back down there trying to look like he's going back into the pits. Matthew Gall coming in as well. Johnny Hurst in the number 58 machine up here on track. Looks like he's got to possibly come to the back a little bit. Jacob Elkins still out front in that number 24 machine here tonight. James Wagner in second. Jeff Scott third. Derek Fulton there in fourth, with Jack Stanley there in fifth. With it being short track, I get scared trying to pull people in quickly, because I never know when the lights will go off or when we're going to go green. And there we go. Lights are out. And I think Elkin's going to stay to that outside lane once again, so that's going to hand the inside lane over to Wagner. As Wagner up here on the front row. Doogie having a great run here tonight in that James Wagner number 30. Had an issue about halfway through the race whenever he decided to make a parking lot out of turn number 1. Now we're back underway, and he's doing great up here in that second position as they come storming down the front stretch here back in the corner number 1. Side by side for second is Fulton and Wagner, as Fulton getting a great run out there on the high side. Here comes Wagner falling back now, as he's got the 34, and the 34 is going around, and there's going to be a collection of cars back here coming out of 4 once again. And it is another parking lot here at Bristol. John Daniels here in the 0-2. He's another strong contender here tonight. So we're on board of John Daniels as he comes down the front stretch. Side by side. There you see the 34. He's trying to check up. Not sure where to go, and just ends up having nowhere to go. And ends up getting hit from behind. And we take a look from Wesley Lynch here. And that number 33 machine. He comes down through the corner. You'll see that 44 kind of kick loose. Or, I'm sorry, that 34 kick loose. So he's going to try to make some evasive maneuvers, and he ends up getting stopped. But that 44, Maurice Chameleon, weaved their way through here. And when we wind it some here, go on board. As you see the mess there. Great job getting through that mess by Chameleon. That's going to put Wagner back to third. And we got a few drivers down on pit road. Chris Melton working his way out. Johnny Hurst making his way out. John Daniels making his way out. John Anthony coming in. Aaron Raymond coming in. Good evening, Wagner. Can you have a copy?
I got you.
All right, how's it going tonight?
It's going pretty good.
Well, it seems like you started off kind of a little loose there about halfway through, but it looks like the car's finally coming to you, sitting here in third position.
Yeah, it feels pretty good right now. I made a mistake early on, but I've made it back up. Maybe I won't make another mistake, but it feels pretty good.
Well, I know you got some fans trying to cheer you on here in the stands and on the broadcast, so looks like you're lining back up for green as it gets tough trying to catch people here at short track. It's short track racing here at Bristol. You enjoying it?
Oh yeah, I love it.
Alrighty, well, you're getting ready to go green, and good luck.
Yep, appreciate it.
That was the number 30 of James Wagner out of North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Green flag back in the air, and Elkins, like before, takes that top side. And down here in the corner, number 1 and 2, they are side by side for a second with Fulton down there on the inside. Jeff Scarp falling back to third. James Wagner now in fourth with Chameleon here in fifth. And that number 44, Chris Melton, was lapped down there in that 42 or 49 machine in the number 52 on the scoreboard. Battling back up here towards the front, and Aaron Raymond as well. And that number 29 has kind of had his ups and downs here tonight, and is battling back up towards the front as well as he's looking underneath Chris Melton out of fourth. A little bit of close racing there as they work through 1 and 2 back here onto the backstretch. It's still Elkins out front, but Jeff Scott and Fulton trying to make something happen as they're trying to get away from Wagner, who's currently sitting there in fourth. Chameleon sitting in fifth with Raymond and Melton battling it out right behind him. Down here in the corner, number 3 and 4. There you see Raymond up there on the high side as they come out of 4. Can he make a run down here in the corner, number 1? He looks to the inside of Melton. As Melton now out onto the backstretch, and he gets a little squirrely coming off of 2. Battle holds his line down there on that inside as Melton holds on to that high side. Here comes Raymond down there on the inside, down here in the corner, number 1. Side by side still. Through 1 and 2, off a 2, back down the backstretch. As you see up front, there's still battles going on with Fulton and Scott, as Scott's looking to the inside of Fulton. As Wagner's trying to figure out what lane he needs to try to get around some of this racing action as he goes to the top side of getting around Scott. Fulton. Up here is Wagner's next target, as Wagner's sitting here in third. And Noma there's trying to pick Wagner for the win. He's looking really strong. He had a little bit of mix-up earlier in the race, but he looks very, very strong here with 24 laps to go. As Fulton here is in second. Elkins doing a great job out front. I wonder if he's kind of surprised that he's out front right now, but as we heard, he's got short run. It's the long run, so if we stay green to the end, what type of factors will that bring in for Jacob out there out front? And will that let Fulton and Wagner chase him down? As Gamillion sitting back here in fifth. Raymond sitting in sixth. Chris Melton still battling here in seventh with Scott Healy down there on the inside. He's another one that had a fast car, and to get contact, gets squirrely, and he's loose, and he comes back up into the outside wall, and that may be it for the 64 of Scott Healy here tonight.
Right there.
Trying to get it back around here. There's definitely some front left side damage on that machine. Taking a big hit, and we definitely got some engine smoke out of the back of that machine. Tough break here for Scott Healy. So here you'll see it coming off a 4. A 49 up there on that top side. Comes up, tries to keep it off the wall, and ends up overcorrecting a little bit. Gets loose, comes down the track, tags the front of Scott Healy. Scott Healy gets upset, tries to keep it going, but unfortunately fishtails one too many times, comes up and T-bones the side of the 49, and takes a header into the outside wall, gets hit once, twice as he's trying to get it down off track. The 0-2 get hit, and there comes the 95, giving him a good punt through 1 and 2. Oh, Scott Healy not having the night that he was hoping for. Started off well, but now is sitting back here in 13th, down 11 positions from where he started. Back out front, it's Aaron Raymond out there in at number 29. He was leading the race some earlier tonight, as Jack Stanley sitting there in second. Really haven't talked too much about Jack Stanley here tonight in that number 95 machine. One that we're keeping our eyes on, though, is the likes of Elkins, Wagner, Fulton. These three were running out front there before that caution came out. Lynch having a great pit stop, getting himself back out there in the third position. Aaron Raymond last pitted at lap 117. Jack Stanley last pitted at lap 103. So it's going to be interesting to see how this tire wear comes into play, as Lynch on back has fresh tires. As Melton is out, I believe. And Scott Healy sitting there on pit road. Yeah, Melton is. Side by side, you got Raymond out front, choosing that inside lane. Kind of different from what we've seen all night long, as Raymond's out there in front. And at number 29, Jack Stanley there in second, Wesley Lynch there in third, with Jacob Elkins fourth, Derek Fulton in fifth, with James Wagner sixth, Jeff Scott seventh, Gamillion there in eighth. Some strong competitors definitely sitting up front here tonight at Bristol. It's going to be an interesting one to see how this lays down as when they come across the stripe. It'll be 15 laps to go, as Raymond gets a great run off the bottom side, unlike what we've seen earlier tonight, as Elkins now up there to the top side trying to get around Stanley bottlenecking it up a little bit, with those older tires as Elkin comes storming around the outside. Here comes Wagner as well. That's Wagner back up there into third, and we got a caution out. Trying to see what happened here. That is going to be Gamillion as Gamillion goes around. So kind of back us up a little bit to kind of see what in the world happened. Looks like they may have come down the racetrack and got into the 2. They needed to stay up a little higher as they were 3 wide coming off of 4. And the 44 of Gamillion goes around. Out there coming off of 4 across the start stripe. Down here, down the front straightaway. Aaron Raymond in the number 29, still out front. But now he's got a battle, though, as Jacob Elkins is there. And Jacob Elkins definitely has short run capabilities. And we're getting into that short run window right now, if you ask me, as we're getting down to only about 10 laps to go. As we're sitting with 12 laps to go right now. So maybe 10 laps to go and we take the green flag. As everything's starting to ramp up here tonight for the Cannonball iRacing Series. Definitely have great sponsors here from Quantum and Twiggy. Well, there, Noma TV, do you think James Wagner has a shot at this, being sitting here in third? Whereas he got his work cut out for him with Elkins and Raymond out there in front tonight, as they both have been very, very strong contenders here tonight at Bristol. So James Wagner sitting there in third. Does Doogie have enough to get that number 30 James Wagner machine into victory lane here tonight? Or will it be the likes of Raymond or Elkins or even Lynch sitting there in the top side? They're in row number 2. As lights are out on the pace car, or pace truck, rather, pace truck. With Aaron Raymond out there in first. Chooses that bottom side once again. We've seen a lot of drivers, so this is interesting because Elkins really likes that outside lane. Where Raymond looks like he prefers the inside lane. So this is going to be an interesting restart here.
Be ready, green flag.
Green flag down and away. And it looks like Raymond gets the shot coming into corner number 1. He is down and away. Here comes Wagner down there on the inside to try to get underneath Elkins. Coming to the backstretch with 8 laps to go. And they work through 3 and 4 back out here onto the front stretch. There you see Wagner trying to get up there. Loses the position. He's now in 4th. Elkins up to 2nd. Raymond out front. Looks very comfortable out there as Elkins trying to chase him down here in that 2nd spot. And Lynch here in 3rd. Wagner sitting in 4th. And Elkins sitting here 2nd right now. Chasing him down. 6 laps to go. Coming around 3 and 4, if I'm looking at it right. Back around to the front stretch. And it's now 5 laps to go here at Bristol at the last Coliseum here tonight. As now it looks like Lynch looking to try to go to the inside of Elkins. Elkins losing some ground here to the number 33 of Lynch. Lynch gets loose. He has to collect it back up as he comes down here into corner number 1 and 2. Now on to the backstretch. Front to back is your leaders as Raymond still out front. Elkins there in second. Raymond getting into that outside wall. 3 laps to go down here into corner number 1 as they all trying to chase each other down. James Wagner looking for that extra speed down there on that bottom corner of 1 and 2 as he dives to the bottom once again through 3 and 4, trying to find that extra momentum to get up there and battle for a podium spot as Lynch and Elkins are battling it right now. And down the backstretch, around corner 3 and 4, it is still Aaron Raymond out there in front with Elkins and Lynch there in second and third. Now for the final lap here at the last great Coliseum we know as Bristol Motor Speedway. Down the backstretch, it is going to be Aaron Raymond leading them into turn number 3 and 4. Up there against that outside wall, gives it a brush down here off of 4 and gets it a little bit loose, but off the corner it is going to be, and oh no, Elkins goes around, finishes third, but he keeps it straight. Little bit of damage on the rear end of that machine coming across the stripe. Lynch takes second. Aaron wins it here tonight. In that number 29 machine, it's Aaron Raymond for the win here tonight. And as we look at the race results here tonight, it is Aaron Raymond in first with Jacob Elkins second, Wesley Lynch there in third, James Wagner fourth, Jeff Scott fifth, Matthew Gall in sixth, Maurice Gamillion there in seventh with John Daniels in eighth, Derek Fulton there in ninth, Jack Stanley finishes 10th, John Anthony finishes 11th, Scott Healy in 12th, Chris Melton 13th, Johnny Harris 14th, James Wertzma in 15th, RJ Buchanan in 16th, and Merritt Watchhorn there in 17th. That is your finishing order here tonight, as the 29 is burning it down here tonight at Bristol. What a win here. What a well-deserved win for him as well. As my dog's taking my green screen away. There we go. That helps a little bit. And we'll see if we can get with some of the winners here. We got Jacob Elkins here finishing third. Jacob Elkins, how's it going here tonight?
It's going good. Wanted to win, but I'll take second.
Well, actually, looking at the timesheet, you got third.
What? The grid says second, though. Hold on, wait. No, it said, for me, it says I got second on the timesheet.
Well, I'm looking at a timesheet that's saying third.
Here, let me look real quick. Let me look at the finish.
Oh wait, no.
Oh, I was definitely ahead of him. Yeah.
Yeah, you got second. Ah, boy, one timesheet's not right compared to the other one.
Yeah, that's interesting. No problem.
All right, so you got second tonight.
Yes, sir, I did.
A little bit crazy finisher for you. You got the rear end knocked out of the car, but
yeah, I just wasn't pushing as hard as I should have been to get close enough to Aaron to do anything. I did it one lap too late, and Wesley got too close to me, and I shouldn't have dove down. I should have just stayed up high. I had to run coming off of 4 to just secure second, but I mean, it worked out. But I wanted to win. I think I led the most laps. It was either me or Aaron that led the most, but the car just felt amazing. I love the setup. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
You both had a great car here for the short track of Bristol. Definitely was fun to watch coming down there to the final stretch. Wasn't sure if you'd have enough for Aaron, but you and Wesley definitely put on a show there for second and third.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. The whole race. Bristol is always a lot of fun when you got a good group of guys. Real fast paced. You got to stay on top of everything when you're racing here. There's not 1 second where you're not thinking about what you're doing, like at some tracks.
Well, and that's kind of like, most short tracks. You're constantly thinking ahead because the laps just tick away so quick. But Who's your sponsors and shout outs you want to give tonight for helping you get into that second place finish?
I mean, just 2014 DuPont, Camaro. But most importantly, Merrick and all the admins for putting on the league. And just everyone in this league, Maurice, Aaron, Scott, and you guys for putting on the broadcast. But we're all a good group of guys. I enjoy it.
It was definitely fun to watch tonight, and definitely a little bit easier on the viewers tonight than what my last broadcast was Wednesday night whenever we were watching the Cup cars try to take on another track. We had like 73 caution laps out of 100.
Oh my gosh, where was that at?
That was, we were watching the Old Glory race, and they forget which track they were at.
That's a lot of call. That is not even racing. That's just pacing.
Yeah, we turned that into iPacing that night for sure.
Yeah, that's something else.
And I know Bristol can have its times where it turns into iPacing.
Oh yeah. We had honestly we didn't have too many cautions, but that I think it was the 2 cautions before the last one when I was in the lead. I had about a second and a half. I think if it would have went green, I think I would have won. Because I was just pulling away from those guys.
Well, you definitely had a great run there tonight. Congrats on your second place finish, and look forward to what next week will bring, even though I won't be here because I'll be out of town for the next 2 weeks.
Where are we going next week, actually?
Next week, I'm not sure where you guys are heading. If there it is. Looks to be, that would be what, the 28th? You're going to Twiggy Brickyard 200 at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Oh, yes. I love that track. That'll be a good race. Love that track in the stock car. A lot of people hate it. I love it in the stock car.
So you're doing the Indy Oval at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Yeah, yep.
So that ought to be a fun one. And like I said, I'll be out of town. I'll actually be sitting at the Big Butler Fair next week, so looking forward to hearing how everybody does.
Yeah. Thanks for putting on the broadcast. Thanks to Merrick for putting on the league, all the admins, and congrats to Aaron on the win.
Alrighty, well, congrats again for your second place here tonight, and we're gonna get with our next.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Oh yes. Well, that was Jacob Elkins. One time sheet says he finished third, another one says he finished second, so we're going to go with he finished second. Wesley Lynch, our third place finisher. Wesley, how's it going?
Good, Adam. How are you?
I'm doing well. Little mix up there with Aaron, trying to figure out who finished where, because one of my timesheets says you finished second, another one says he finished second, so we got it sorted out. Turns out you finished third.
Yeah. I went back and looked at it myself. It was a very pretty close photo finish for the tiebreaker at second.
Well, it definitely was fun to watch coming to the line. It didn't seem like either one of you really had much to offer to Aaron out there out front, but you still had a good enough strategy to come into a podium position here tonight.
Yeah, it was a pretty tough night considering I got tied up in the first incident, and I had to use my fast repair, and I think I was 1 lap down at the time, so I had to battle back on that, and I was on a run at the time that got caught up in the incident, moving up through the field a little bit, but had a tough break. It was a fun night.
Well, it was a fun night to watch up here in the booth as well. And hopefully we did okay here tonight. And who's your shout out you want to shout out to for helping you get into that third position podium?
I'll give a shout out to my teammates that's been running with me, John Anthony and Derek Fulton. They've been doing a really, really good job out on the track. Outside of that, I don't really have too much outside of those guys. Work really hard every week to try to get pretty good finishes for the Skid Mark Motorsports team.
All right, sorry, somebody was coming in the door behind me here. But Yeah, you had a great run, and we look forward to seeing how you perform at Indianapolis next week. Uh, Rather, I'd be like to hear how you did as you, hopefully you can continue some of the momentum.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it.
Alrighty, good luck. That was our third place finisher, Wesley Lynch. We're getting with our winner now here in Victory Lane. Aaron, how's it going tonight?
It's going great.
Well, looks like you had a strategy to beat here tonight at Bristol. Here doing 150 laps of short track racing at the last Great Coliseum, known as Bristol Motor Speedway. It look very very comfortable out there in front. Were you worried at all during the race of kind of would your strategy play out or not?
No, it was mostly just once I got up front, I was just trying to see if I'm right up front so I wouldn't fall off there late in the run. But we got a caution and pit, and I got on pit road, got sent to the back, and somehow made my way back up to the front.
Well, you definitely made it up there and held on to it. And when we were talking to Elkins is kind of curious if he led more laps or if you led more laps throughout the night. And that'll be kind of interesting if we can find that stat at some point. But you definitely look great out front. And can you kind of take some of this momentum into Indianapolis next week?
I'm gonna try, but usually I'm not that great at Indy, so we're just gonna have to see how it plays out.
Oh, great job getting that victory here tonight. Nonetheless, that sure definitely would help you out in points, I'm sure. And what a way to come back after spring break or summer break, whatever you guys call it here at Cannonball.
Thank you. Have a great night.
All righty. Who's your shout out you want to give here tonight for getting that victory?
Well, I gotta thank you guys for putting on the broadcast. I gotta thank all the guys that put on this league. They do a great job, and I gotta thank my family.
All righty. Again, congrats, and we wish you luck next week.
Thank you.
So that was Aaron Raymond, our winner here this evening in that number 29 machine. As we are getting ready to head out here, what a great night of racing it was. Hopefully everybody checks out Noma TV next week when we catch on the not sure what's going on there on my broadcast booth, but we'll figure that out. So yeah, we'll catch you next. We'll catch you later, as I'm sure Richard will be here next week. My next broadcast for Figure Farm TV on the pole will be Wednesday, Sunday, and then Wednesday. So, wish everybody luck. Hopefully, you have a great weekend, and have a good night.